everybody. So I wanted to make a little video to talk about gear that we like to take on our expeditions. This would be something like our team trek that we offer in the summer or our scout camp. Some of the gear is a little different than what you may have, and so I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to see an example of what I like to bring, and then you have time to ask questions if there's anything else you'd like to know more about. I'm going to start with some of the more unusual items first. The first is a wool blanket. This is going to be what we use for sleeping. It's also going to be what we make our backpacks out of. You can either get something like a Pendleton blanket, which is what this one is, or a military surplus blanket is great. One thing you want to be sure to do is take the blanket and hold it up to the light. And you want it to be nice and solid. If you can see through it really easily, you're going to be a lot colder at night. So that's a key piece there. Other than that, it's just a standard wool blanket. You can find them all over the place. The next piece that's really important is a military style poncho. This is going to be our rain gear. It's a ground cloth. It's also how we're going to build our shelters. It needs to have grommets on the corners, as well as snaps along the edges. These are the ways in which we're going to use it to build a shelter. This is another thing that you could find at a military surplus store or potentially on the internet. One of my favorite pieces of gear is what we call the VersaCloth. This is just a piece of sort of stout cotton muslin found at a fabric store. It's about 5 feet square. This does so many things. It's a day pack. It helps me gather firewood. It can be used as a towel. It can be used as a sunshade to gather duff for beds. So this is a critical item, easy to find at a fabric store, but the VersaCloth is a key thing. And then I have a shamag. In many ways, my pack is just lots of pieces of cloth. So this is the final one. This is a shamag. This is something popularized in the Middle East. Again, found at many outdoor stores, military surplus stores, etc. It's a scarf, it's a sunshade, it's a day pack, it's a piece of first aid equipment. This is an optional item, but one that I always carry. It also is nice, if there are bugs, to protect from bugs. So a shamag is a nice piece of gear as well. The final thing that's a little unusual is our cotton webbing. This is strong 2-inch cotton webbing, 14 feet long. This is how we're going to make the straps of our backpack using our blanket and then this webbing so that we can carry our gear with us. From there, we're going to get into clothing. I burn easily, so a brim sun hat is really important. This is one I made, but it could be any outdoor brim sun hat that you like. At night and in the morning, it's going to be chilly, so we need to have a warm stocking cap. In many places on our gear list, we talk about using wool. This is specific. In wilderness areas, wool is, in my opinion, one of the superior fabrics for a few reasons. Even when it's wet, it helps keep us warm. And also, in all likelihood, we will be cooking and warming ourselves next to a fire. Wool is fire retardant. So while there are lots of high quality pieces of clothing made out of synthetics, it can melt when close to a fire. And so it becomes a little bit of a hazard. So wool is really what we prefer. So we need a nice wool jacket. This is again one I found at a military surplus store. We're going to have 3 pairs of wool socks. Darn Tough is my favorite brand, but Smart Wool, there's lots. You go to REI or any outdoor store, there's going to be lots of good brands of socks. On the list, we usually say 2 pairs of wool socks and a pair of liner socks. It could also just be 3 pairs with one of them being a little thinner. For the cold nights, wool base layers, top and bottom. Now, if you already own something, a good base layer that's synthetic, you could use that. But if you're going out to buy it new, I would highly recommend wool. For all the reasons I described, also, it doesn't smell as bad when you're out in the field. Synthetic gear starts to get pretty rank after a little while. One more cold weather item, a nice wool sweater to keep us warm. also works as a pillow. When we're hiking, it's a little different. And so this is where I'm going to bring a cotton long sleeve sun shirt. So just a lightweight sun shirt. We also have sunscreen on the list, but this really helps protect us from the sun the best. A pair of quick dry shorts. These will also be swimming trunks if we're near water. So now I am going to be bringing synthetic things. It's lighter, it dries more quickly if I need to wash it, and it's more comfortable on the hot days. Now, we also have a pair of hiking pants on the list. These can be either cotton or synthetic, like a quick dry material. These also protect us from the sun while we're out hiking, or if we're going through brush that's, might scratch our legs. And if you need a belt to hold up your pants, please bring an adjustable belt. 4 bandanas. These are really important. We use these in many ways, and so having 4 cotton bandanas is great. A couple pairs of underwear. Ladies, please bring a sports bra. And then shoes. You need to have a pair of hiking boots that you've worn quite a bit. No new shoes. So if you're buying something, buy them as soon as possible and wear them a lot. And wear them hiking. And preferably even go off trail, because we need to be sure that they fit without blistering. That's really important. It could either be a pair of proper boots, or if you are accustomed to hiking with a load in some sort of a shoe, that's also okay. I typically will backpack wearing shoes like this. Optionally, but highly recommended, would be a pair of sandals that can be either used for hiking or when we're in base camp. No flip-flops, Crocs, anything like that. Something that fits well to your feet. It could be, these are homemade sandals, but it could be something like Chacos, Tevas, Zeros, etc. Some of other specific expedition gear. 2 good water bottles. I really like single-walled clean canteens. A liter Nalgene bottle is great as well. If you're going with a metal water bottle, we really prefer an uninsulated bottle. A lot of them are insulated that are out these days, and one of the issues is they just don't hold as much water and take up a lot of space. A metal cup that fits inside your water bottle, or your water bottle fits inside of the cup. A knife. My recommendation would be to get a Mora companion or clipper knife. That's a great fixed blade knife, or another fixed blade knife if that's what you use. A compass with a base plate, so we can figure out where we're going and how to get out of there. We're going to need 3 pieces of paracord in different lengths. We have them on there. This is going to be things to help us put up our shelters, make lines to dry clothes. We use them in many ways, so paracord is really important. Water purification. We recommend and prefer the Aquamira drops. We'll teach you all how to use this, but we're going to be coming across water that we can't drink without treating it safely. And so the Aquamira drops are going to help us there. Optionally, but highly recommended, would be a journal. We're going to be going into a transformational type experience, and sometimes you're going to want to remember the thoughts that you had while you're out there. A med kit, very important. Yours will be a little smaller than this. It should have tweezers in case you have splinters, cactus thorns, etc. Band-aids, some gauze, maybe some medications if they're things that you know that you use, some moleskin for blisters, things like that. But look for a small personal medical kit. A whistle. This is really important. This is how we keep from getting lost. Ideally plastic, brightly colored so you don't lose it. And some of those whistles have what's called a little bead in there, the thing that moves around, preferably one without a bead. And then for some of my small items, I have a toothbrush, a small thing of biodegradable soap. I don't go anywhere without some dental floss. I like to have some lip balm, some fingernail clippers. Now there's some other items that are specific to individuals. For ladies, please bring some feminine hygiene products, whatever it is that you use. If you wear prescription glasses, please bring those. Preferably no contacts, just because they can be difficult out in the field. If this is an issue, talk to us and we'll see what is the best fit for you. Other things would be sunscreen. Please make sure it's reef-safe sunscreen so that we protect the waterways we're around. Another item would be mosquito repellent. Please make sure it doesn't have DEET in it. You're also welcome to bring a digital camera or some sort of a camera to help record your experience. And typically, at the end of these adventures, we create some sort of a file where everyone can see photos that have been taken. So even if you don't have a camera, you can have ways of remembering your experience. You'll notice there are some items we don't allow. Cell phones, watches. In general, what we're trying to do is create an environment that allows us to not have any distractions from the outside world. So we're trying to reduce our dependence on electronic and digital technology. So please respect that list. It allows us all to have a much richer experience, and it allows us to connect more deeply to each other while we're in the field. Many of our courses also have a base camp portion, either here at Fire Willow Farm or when we're in the field, we'll be at a base camp. You need a couple of extra items there. One is some eating things: plate, bowl, utensils. I don't always like to wear my brimmed hat because sometimes if we're running around playing games, I like to have more of a cap with me. A few extra clothes, a few cotton t-shirts, extra underwear, a towel in case we're swimming or we're bathing, a sleeping bag, a sleeping pad, and sometimes on the list there's also a personal tent, which would be a nylon dome tent, ideally 2-3 person tent, and oftentimes participants will share these. And these base camp items we'll be using while we're in our base camp phase, and then we'll pack them up, put them someplace safe for when we go into the field. Hopefully that answers a lot of your questions, and we look forward to having you out on an adventure with us.